What's up guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're having a great day. Today I was planning to talk about studying for university during lockdown, or more specifically, how to study for university during lockdown. As I was going to share with you my top 6 tips and tricks to not just start studying, but keep at it. So let's dive in together. Tip number 1, create a morning routine. If like me, you find it hard to get the motivation to start studying in the first place, this is crucial. And it can be best explained with an example. So for me, I struggle waking up and starting studying in the first place, especially when I can't leave the house and get a change of scenery during lockdown. As I don't actually have to be anywhere at any specific time, I just don't really have the motivation to get up and get started. So I started putting this specific routine that I'll go through in a second into play, and it really just helped me to nudge and get started. So what I do is when I first wake up, I have a set routine that I do every morning. I go to my bathroom, go to the toilet, weigh myself, brush my teeth, come back, make my bed, get dressed, go downstairs, breakfast. And then once I finish that, I go straight over to my laptop and I start practicing my typing. Then bam, before I know it, there I am, sat at my laptop with productive web pages open, ready to start studying and bash through some uni work. You don't have to follow that routine, but that's just one that works for me, so it's easy to share it with you. Helps to reduce the amount of effort I need to put in to start studying in the first place. And it nudges me in the direction of productivity, which I need. Tip number 2. Create yourself a stable base. Now, what I mean by this is to have one set study space. Now, normally it's very simple. You can do this by, say, going to the library, but obviously during lockdown, libraries are mostly closed. Equally, it can be done by sitting down at a table or a desk or even a chair in your place of living. But the important thing is that it's a set routine where you do your studying every day, and you know that when you're in that place, you're there to study. So before you start work, there's no questions over where you may go or where you may not. You know where you're going. And once you're there, you're just that sort of psychological mindset of, right, I'm here to work, get it done, and then move on with the rest of your day. It's just another way to remove a barrier that stops you from studying in the first place, whilst helping you to get in the zone so you'll ultimately complete more university work. Tip number 3 is to remove distractions. Now, I covered this more in my last video, which will be linked above. But essentially, the key is that once you've started studying, you don't want to stop. So just make it as hard as possible for you to get distracted by moving away your phone, by getting snacks and drinks so you don't have to get up, and just trying to keep on task. But again, cover that more in my last video, linked above. Tip number 4, and if you've made it this far, it's by far the most important tip that I've got, and that is to plan the work that you want to do beforehand. This is a new technique that I've brought on board this term, as I've been given more scope to adjust my own schedule during lockdown when everything is online instead of in person. And that is to create what I call study lists on Excel. Now, I'm not sure how to show you this, as I'm not the best person with computers, but essentially what you do is, firstly, open Excel, and then write down every single module that you have work to complete that week. And then in the column next to it, break down what exactly those tasks are for that module. So it might be to watch the pre-recorded lectures, it might be to attend the interactive sessions, it could be to do the reading, it could be to do any tasks you've got set, but basically break it down individually, task by task and module by module. And on the next sheet, essentially lay out the days of the week and populate them with a corresponding which bit of the work you're going to schedule to do on which day, depending on other commitments. And then as you go through the week, you know what you've got to do what day to get all your work done, and you can tick it off as you go to ensure that you're completing all the work that you were set to do that week, or that you've set yourself for that week. It helps to ensure that you're not studying too little and leaving work to do, whilst also making sure you're not doing too much and reaching burnout, which is especially important during lockdown when there's not the clear divide of when you're at work and when you're at home. As I mentioned in my last video, how to get through university reading lists. Now, things to bear in mind when you're creating this list are, firstly, front load your week so that if a certain studying element takes longer than expected, you can fill that in later and get it done. Secondly, once you've decided what you will study on each day, order the university work into chronological order so that you know what you're doing first, what you're doing second, and what you're doing third, so on, and it helps you to plan out your day. Thirdly, schedule in things other than just studying to make sure that you're able to keep this up in the long run and it's not just a short-term sprint. These can be as simple as catching up with friends, getting a workout in, or simply going outside, walking and getting some vitamin D in to make sure there's no deficiencies happening. Fourthly, each day have a balance of tasks that you both prefer doing and find more arduous so that you're not super productive some days and really struggle in others. For instance, reading is something I particularly struggle to motivate myself with, so I make sure that on no one day have I got too much to do. This again was mentioned in my last video, how to get through university reading, which I'll link up above. Penultimately, reward yourself for hitting the goals you've set, because you will have done a lot of work at this point, and it's no good having all work and no play. You've got to treat yourself, you've got to reward yourself to keep that motivation up and keep the momentum swinging in your favour. Finally, to not beat yourself up. Say if you don't hit all your targets, that's fine. Exams don't start the second your last lecture ends. If there's only a small bit of work you haven't completed, you can get through that and manage that. The issue will come is if 1 week before the exam you've done absolutely nothing. But if you stick into this sort of routine, that just won't be the case. Tip number 5 is to attend all the interactive sessions. It's so easy to do during lockdown now they're all online. All you have to do is lift your laptop screen up at the right point in time. And they're so helpful at consolidating and broadening your knowledge on the topic you're studying, as well as giving away possible insights into what the exam paper could hold come summer. The only issue is remembering exactly when they are at which time. If you create a table like I mentioned in the previous point, you can see exactly which interactive sessions you have on that day. Then all you have to do is go onto your phone, set an alarm 10 minutes before that starts, and bish bash bosh. On to the next tip. And that is to study with friends. Obviously, this can't be done in person during the lockdown, but one thing I have started doing with a couple of friends is starting up Zoom calls and then minimising the window, which just leaves me with a picture of their head about fingers width to a thumb width square. This makes sense in my head, I promise. We then tend to mute our mics, and the effect of seeing them studying just eggs me on and makes me want to knuckle down and get through my own work. Although, warning, be careful which friends you do this with, as it can be very easy just to turn into a social session. I think that's everything I have to offer today. If there's something I haven't mentioned that you think will help people study for university during lockdown, please drop it down in the comments below and let's start a discussion. Thank you very much for listening, and as always, I wish you have a very wonderful rest of your day.